everybody. This is HERNTZ PHANORD. I want to welcome you on to the Boulevard. Now, this time it's TV, not radio, but it's all good. Listen, for my first program, I have the privilege, the honor of having as guest one of my best friends. He's been a friend to the community for quite a while. And when you see him, you're going to recognize him. His name is Pat Santangelo. He's a former teacher, former FHP trooper, and he has been taking care of the community for quite a long time. And it's a pleasure. Let you say hi to Pat Santangelo, candidate for District 108. Pat, how are you today?
Hi, Ernst. Thank you for inviting me here for your first program. This is a huge honor for me. Thank you very much.
This is awesome. Listen, we're going to do this very quickly, rapid fire like. I know that everybody has heard your name, Pat Santangelo, but not a whole lot of people may have seen your face, although you've been in this community for quite a long time. For those who are going to be voting for you, for those who reside in District 108, tell us a little bit about yourself, besides what I've just said. Tell us a little something personal about you.
Well, you know, I was born in Providence, Rhode Island. My mom and dad never went to college. They had 4 children. All 4 of us graduated from college with a 4-year degree. When I grew up in Rhode Island, I was lucky enough to have an uncle who was in business. He had a furniture store. So from the time I was about 8 or 9 years old, I used to beg my uncle, can I please ride on the truck? I said, I'll help you deliver furniture, but please, I used to love big trucks. So I started right when I was 8 or 9. He let me do it finally, and I was so grateful that I was like a workaholic. When that truck arrived, whatever delivery we had, I'd be on and off that truck like a jet delivering furniture. So my first job was about 9 years old. After my uncle saw that I kind of was productive, he started paying me. So that was my first job. But I've always had all kinds of jobs throughout all my life. When I was in college, I had Sears management training. I also drove buses, charter buses. I drove city buses. I drove taxi cabs. When I graduated college, I became a teacher, and I taught management, marketing, and merchandising. But while I was a teacher, I also had 2 variety stores similar to 7-Elevens. I also had a bed and breakfast in New Hampshire. I also had several other things going on.
A businessman.
A businessman, and thanks to my uncle, because when I was just a little kid, 10 or 11 years old, we'd go to the bank, and he would be making a payment on his mortgage. He'd say, okay, Pat, today we're going to make a principal payment. That was like the only 10-year-old that knew what a payment on the principal of a mortgage was, and I took it from there. So I'm very respectful of work, and I'm very respectful of education, and also very respectful of money.
But of course, if you love money, you love education, and you love to work, you should have been a Haitian, because all those principles can be easily applied to us. I want to remind the audience that we are on the Boulevard, but this time it's on Biscayne Boulevard. We're shooting at the Who Restaurant, Sports and Bar, and of course, HLN, Haiti Live Network. That's how come you can see me right now. And I hope you tell your friends, of course, to sponsor a boîte là, so you can not only see me on television, but also you can see all the programmings live in Haiti, TV and radio alike. But our first guest this afternoon is Pat Santangelo. Not only is he all of the things he just enumerated, but he's been a friend to the community. And that's one of the reasons why he's here. He's got a spot going on Haitian radio right now, touting his qualities and the reasons why you guys should vote for him. By the way, Pat, the election is when? August 14th? Or is it another time?
It's August 14th, but early voting starts August 4th. And the absentee ballots will be mailed out a little bit before that, so we have to start staying alert. When I'm asking people to do it, so I have 2 opponents, and I would like you to ask the audience to please, before they vote for anybody, please try to be an educated voter. Google the name of me and my 2 opponents, and you make up your own mind who you think would be best qualified for the job. I feel that I am, but that's my opinion. I'm not the voter. It's up to the people who I'm being elected to represent to decide who they think would be the best person for their community.
At the beginning of the program, I mentioned the fact that Pat has always been a friend to the Haitian community. I'm going to ask him a couple of questions, but I need you to understand that on radio, what I promote is the fact that I'm a liberal, I'm an independent. I don't particularly cater to party. I have a party affiliation, of course, but To me, issue, that's what's primordial. I vote issues and not necessarily party, but I'm a registered Democrat, just like Pat Santangelo. Pat, I mentioned the fact that you are a friend to the community. You are basically a Haitian American activist. Now, you have two other opponents. You did mention that they are of Haitian descent. And since they are, and you are looking for Haitian Americans to vote for you, tell me what differentiates you, one thing that differentiates you from your Haitian American opponents.
Well, one thing is I feel the diversity that I have, having been a business person, a teacher, a taxi driver, a state trooper, and now my job is I'm the spokesman for the mayor of the city of Miami, Tomas Regalado. In order for me to get a position like that, the city officials have to have a lot of trust in me. So I feel like that I've earned a reputation of an honest, dependable individual with a work ethic. Now, again, I don't know what the qualifications of my opponents are, but I do know that I have a history in the Haitian community. But not only the Haitian community, but because we're speaking on the HLN network, I'll talk about the Haitian community. Many years ago, I was told by some of the people that I worked with the Highway Patrol, in fact, the toll collectors on the Florida Turnpike, that the bus schedules in Palm Beach County were in English and Spanish, and they wanted to know why they were not in Creole. Well, I went to Palm Beach County Transit, and I asked them, and they said, well, no Haitian people ride the bus. And I said, well, that sounds very, very unlikely, because I know a lot of Haitian people myself that ride the bus. It turns out they were counting all African Americans as Haitians. So once I explained to them what the problem was, that many of the people on the bus would like to feel like they're valued customers. Because we cater to Spanish speaking, we of course have the English speaking, but it seems like they take the Haitian people for granted. They'll take their money, but they don't want to give them any particular service. But once we explained that to them, they were more than happy to provide the bus schedule in Creole. Another example is we have a friend, he has a driving school, his name is Mr. Roland. It's called Roland Driving School. It's a Haitian American in Fort Lauderdale.
You know, I'm going to send him a bill for this plug, right?
Well, the truth is what he did, he came up to me, he knew I was a state trooper. He said, Pat, you know, one of the things I have a problem when I'm teaching people how to drive is to explain to them the driver's manual. And really, I have to basically go through every page, and it's a pretty thick book. If it was in Creole, I could just go over the highlights or maybe answer some questions for them. So what I did, I went to a particular legislator whose name is Irv Schlasberg in Boca Raton. I said, Representative Schlasberg, this is the issue we got. Do you think you can help me get those books in Creole? He took me to the head of the Department of Highway Safety and Motor Vehicles. We explained with him the issue was that we have tens of thousands of Haitians here, and many of those people, English is their second language. Before you knew it, we had the driver's license books in Creole, and that's when I realized how powerful a state representative could be. Because, for instance, with Department of Transportation and other state agencies, if you're a local politician, they may or may not listen to you. But if you're a state representative, they have to listen to you because you do their budgets. So whatever issues they have at the state level, the state representatives do the budget. So they're going to listen to a state representative more than another person. So for the example of the driver's license books, if a city mayor came up to them and tried to get the book in Creole, they may or may not have helped them. But because I went to a state representative, we got it to happen. That's one of the reasons why I chose this particular office, HERNTZ.
Let me tell you guys, first of all, let me remind you that you are watching the HERNTZ PHANORD show, but I prefer to call it the Boulevard, just like on radio. And we are right now inside the Who on the Biscayne Boulevard. Of course, I chose a boulevard because I love the name. It's on 6708, the Biscayne Boulevard. And when I'm not shooting, I come here and I eat and I watch sports like the series opposing Miami to the other team. I don't even dare say Oklahoma City, but that's where I'm gonna watch it. So come on down and mingle and network. I know Holland Daphnis loves to network, so that's what we're doing right here. And our guest this afternoon is Pat Santangelo. Pat Santangelo is currently the spokesperson for the mayor's office, the city of Miami. He's now running for state representative, District 108. And he's here to solicit your vote. And as I said, Pat is as Haitian as can be. I've known Pat for a couple of years, and every time we have a crisis in the community, he's always there to help us. He's used FHP's resources to help out the community, and most everybody, the who's who of the community, know of Pat Santangelo. And I'm hoping that you will give him a chance, depending on what he's saying right now. If you believe in what he's saying, give him a chance and vote for him. Again, the early voting is going to start on August 4th. And of course, if you're going to be going out, don't miss out. Vote absentee. It's always important. But Pat wants you to keep in mind that he's one of the candidates who wants to work for you. He wants to represent you. And you know me, issues are of priority to me. Talking about issues, Pat, what in the community, the Haitian community, what issue do you think is the most urgent?
Well, jobs really are the most urgent. America was built on middle class, and when you watch how the government's been operating, they seem to favor the rich people, okay? It seems like even in a place like Little Haiti, if you want money to build like one of those big high-rise buildings, you can probably get it. But when you're trying to help the businesses, that's when we have problems. It is the businesses that create the jobs and create the wealth. Even with government, I was the president of the PBA, which is a union that represents a state trooper for 6 years. And one of the things I notice is they keep trying to cut away at benefits. They rather, like for prisons, they rather privatize prisons and get people to work for minimum wage than to pay corrections officers a fair wage, give them benefits, so that way their family can have a house of their own, they can have health benefits, they can have retirement benefits. But when they privatize a prison, you save money in the short run, but you're destroying the economy of the state.
You're absolutely right, Pat. And I should applaud you. Now, I know that you want to help out the community. And I know that you think job creation is our #1 priority. But then again, President Obama has been saying that job creation is not the #1 priority of the American people. Now, I know that you want to go in Tallahassee to represent us. But you mentioned job creation. We are the second largest ethnic group in Miami, besides the Cuban Americans. Now, what specifically do you have in mind to create jobs for the Haitian community? Do you have anything in mind?
Well, first of all, I'm going to do what I've been doing since you've known me, okay? Make sure the Haitian community does not get left out. Okay, they built the Marlins Stadium. Okay, you see all the job fairs in Liberty City, Overtown, Little Havana. Did you see any job fairs in North Miami or Little Haiti? The answer to that is no, okay? So over the years, what I've tried to do, and you've been a witness to that for many years, to make sure there's somebody there to make sure that the Haitians are included. Now, there are jobs out there. The problem is that your community, or the Haitian community, which is our community, is left out of a lot of the loops. For instance, I can tell you about a job fair we had at the Caleb Seminar. I didn't have it, I was there. And one of the companies had 30 jobs for truck drivers. There were hardly any Haitian people at this job fair, okay? It was at the Caleb City. There was not one person out of 150 people there who had a CDL. I know there's a lot of Haitian Americans that have CDLs that don't have a job, but they didn't know about the job fair.
But Pat, one of the things that you've been doing for the community is making sure that we in the media get the information so we can relay that to our audience. One of the reasons why no Haitians showed at that forum, at that fair, it's probably because it wasn't advertised on radio. Now we have radio and TV, and I know one of the things you're going to be doing is make sure that information is broadcasted throughout the community like you've been doing in the past.
Well, again, you're probably the best testament to that. And as you probably know, all the money that I get from Click It or Ticket and so forth that I finally convinced the state to give to Creole language radio, as you know, you may or may not be happy about it, but you don't get all the money. You get some of the money. There's 3 Haitian radio stations, and I've been to all the 3 major Haitian radio stations in Miami. And before that, in Palm Beach County, there were 2 major radio stations there, and I made sure the people there got their fair share of the money. So what I try to do is I try to make sure the Haitian community in general gets a fair share, and then I don't favor one person over another. I make sure everybody gets something because everybody deserves some respect.
Well, you know, I always give you a very warm welcome, and I know that you're very well known and liked throughout the media, the Haitian media. What kind of a welcome do you get from the community?
Well, I'm very, very fortunate. You know, they redistricted, and the district changed from the last election. The district is North Miami, Miami Shores, El Portel, all the way down to Little Haiti, and all the way down to the Design District. The north boundary is Northwest 135 Street. The south boundary is Northwest 36th Street. The eastern boundary is Biscayne Bay, and the western boundary is now Northwest 17th Avenue. So since the last election, the Upper East Side of Miami, right now where we're sitting, is now in the district. Last election, when my two opponents ran against each other, this is not what part of the district. So one of the actual blessings that I have when they redistricted, they came in right into the neighborhood where my church is. My church is Notre Dame de Haiti Catholic Church, which is on 62nd Street. Last election, that wasn't in the district. The Upper East Side, where we're sitting right now, was not in the district. Now it is in the district, and now Liberty City is in the, and there are no African American people running in this race, and right now, the day we're having this interview, is past the deadline for people to be going in. So I'm going to be running against two Haitian Americans. It just so happens I have a long history in the Haitian American community. In the 1980s, I was an expert on racism and discrimination in U.S. police departments for the U.S. Department of Civil Rights. In fact, I was an expert witness in Washington, and I would be called down to Washington to be a witness for people on racism and discrimination back in the 80s. So the history that we have goes way back to the 80s here in Miami. So people in Liberty City know me. They've known me really for longer than you've known me, because in 1982, we actually got the promotional system changed on the highway patrol. At that time, we had 2 black, 1 Hispanic, and 1 female supervisor who were sergeants on the highway patrol out of 300 supervisors. I went to the Community Relations Board. In fact, a lady named Georgia Ayers, African-American civil rights person, and another man named Willie Sims brought me to the Community Relations Board. Governor Graham did an investigation on the highway patrol, and this was very risky for me and my job at that time, but they came to a conclusion of institutional racism in the highway patrol, and they forced them to change the promotional system. And right now, from that day on, the promotional system was fair, and minorities actually got promoted at a faster rate because they've been studying so hard for many years, but the stack was against them, and it became. So basically, what I'm saying is that I go way back in that neighborhood.
Yes, you go way back, and I think you lucked out with this redistricting. You really lucked out. Now, all the areas that you've mentioned are homes to very large Haitian American concentrations, and according to what you've told us, you're very well known and you're well connected. And I should also say that let's go back to job creation for a minute. I know North Miami is part of your district, and there's a big project called the Biscayne Landing, and that promises to give jobs to a couple of thousands people. Now, is there anything you can do to make sure that the Haitian community, a community that really suffers and that could really use your help, can you do anything? Can you use your influence, if you get elected, to make sure that our community gets a piece of the pie?
Well, here's what I can do, okay? And this is what I've been doing. The problem is there's a lot of jobs like that coming up. With the Marlin Stadium is just as big a project as Biscayne Landings, if not bigger, right? So what happens is when they hire subcontractors and contractors, they bring their own crew in with them. And a lot of times the local people don't have a chance for those jobs. And a lot of times you can't blame the people, because if I came to your radio station right now and I said, HERNTZ, I'm going to give you a state contract, but you must hire so many Cuban Americans, right? Well, you're going to first find out, wait a minute, can those people fit the qualifications that I need? So the main thing is to make sure the people in North Miami that live in that area have the qualifications to get the jobs that are coming up. And we've run into this in Liberty City and Overtown many times when they're doing construction. In fact, the Little Haiti Soccer Park is a big example of that, because I remember when they were building, they had the meetings over at Notre Dame Church, and I would go to the meetings with the city commissioner. And we would ask them, why are there not any Haitian Americans? Why is everybody on this project Hispanic? The consultant that was trying to do the outreach said there were no Haitian American companies qualified to do the work. And we dispute that. We think that they didn't look for any, because I'll bet you right now, if I said to you, HERNTZ, I need some companies to do some painting contractors on a project in the city, you could probably give me a list of 10 people by the time we leave here.
No, definitely. Not only can I give you painters, but I can give you several other people, several other companies that do constructions. Let me tell you, I can attest to the fact that you've been ubiquitous in our community. But the fact that you're running, let me put it another way, the fact that the other two candidates are of Haitian descent, has that presented any problems between you and those other two candidates? Because I know you used to also work with them.
Well, the two other candidates I have, I've basically been what we call staying in my lane. I've been running my campaign, and I'm telling the people why I feel that I should be looked at.
No negative campaigning.
No, because the voters are smart enough. If they Google myself and they Google my two opponents, they can make their own decision who they feel is the most qualified. So I don't have to tell anybody how bad somebody else is or how good somebody else. I just know what I'm doing, and I'm trying to make a presentation to the community of what I'm all about. And although that my two opponents are Haitian American, I'm Italian American. Does that make me qualified to represent the entire Italian community? Because you got to understand that just because you are Haitian American, that doesn't mean that you're a bigger part of the community than somebody that doesn't look like you. So that's kind of what my platform is.
Well, let me tell you, I've been telling my audience on radio that if we want other communities to vote for our Haitian American candidates, they also have to give a certain amount of considerations to the candidates that are non-Haitians. So I think you're going to fit just right, and I wish you luck. But I know that if you do ascend to the chair that you're seeking, to the position that you're seeking, you're going to do a good job for the community. I have not spoken to the other two candidates as of yet, but I'm sure. But you know me, I'm going to keep the doors open, and I feel that God put me on this earth to be a bridge between the Haitian community and the other communities. And as my first guest, you were excellent. You make my job very easily. You're very eloquent. You articulate your positions very well. And I'm happy I didn't have to do too much. Again, I want to thank you for being on the Boulevard, on TV. And again, guys, I want to thank you for being here today. And of course, I want you to stay tuned, because you're going to see this face, you're going to hear this voice quite often. I believe in what Alan Daphnis is doing. The Haiti Live Networks is the future, and you know me, I'm always looking for the future. I want to thank you again for being here with us. My guest this afternoon was Pat Santangelo. And again, make sure you give him first consideration when it comes to August the 14th, right? And early voting start on the 4th. Thank you, and you have a good night.